The Department of Water and Sanitation and Rand Water have assured communities that water supply will not be affected by the upcoming temporary closure of the Lesotho Highlands Tunnel. The water project will close down for 6 months for maintenance work. The closure is expected to start from October this year until March next year. The project will be overseen by the Lesotho Highlands Development Agency and the Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority, an entity under the Water and Sanitation Department. Joining us to discuss this further is Dr. Sean Phillips, Department of Water and Sanitation Director General. Good afternoon, Doctor, and thank you very much for your time. Before we get to the possible disruptions or water pressure issues for users of the Vaal River system, let's start with the maintenance work to be done. Why exactly will it take 6 months and what will be done?
Well, there's about 80 kilometers of tunnel between the dams in the Lesotho Highlands, which need to be maintained. These are huge tunnels which transfer water from one dam to another, high up dams to low up dams to lower down dams. And these are massive tunnels which are steel lined, and the steel lining needs to be protected. It needs to be treated for corrosion. And you can imagine that over 80 kilometers of tunnel takes considerable time to do the maintenance.
Then to the impact that this will have on water users. Some say the users of the Vaal River system will be impacted in one way or another, be it through low pressure or restrictions. Is there any truth to this?
No, there's no truth. There's various users of the water. The main users of the water from Lesotho are Rand Water. The water from Lesotho goes into the integrated Vaal River system, and Rand Water extracts that water and treats it to supply it to the municipalities in Gauteng. There won't be any impact on Rand Water's ability to abstract water from the integrated Vaal River system. The reason for that is because it's a system made up of a number of dams, approximately 19 dams, of which the Vaal Dam is one. And at the moment, most of the dams are full. So there's going to be a relatively small reduction in the amount of water over the whole year, which will come from Lesotho into the integrated Vaal River system. And once the maintenance work is finished, we will then increase the transfer of water from Lesotho into the integrated Vaal River system to make up for the water that wasn't transferred during the maintenance period. Because the dams are full, there's sufficient water in the integrated Vaal River system for Rand Water to continue abstracting at its current rate.
Quite comforting, Doctor. Then to the phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. We know of the delays. We're now expecting it to come online between 2028 and 2029. Firstly, are we still on course for that coming online?
Yes, it is still on course. All the major contracts for that project were awarded at the end of 2022. The contractors are all on site and working very hard. The project is still on track, and the progress of the project will not in any way be affected by this closure of the tunnels, which are part of phase 1 rather than phase 2 for the maintenance work.
Now, particularly with the delays for phase 2, some experts have raised a bit of concern. They maintain that the supply of water in Gauteng in particular will fall lower than the demand periodically until phase 2 comes online. Is this in fact the case? And if so, what measures are being put in place to address the scarcity?
Yes, it is the case. And the problem is that the phase 2 started too late. It should have started a lot earlier, but as I indicated, we only awarded the main contracts at the end of 2022. It was actually meant to come online and start delivering water by 2019. The measures that have been taking in place is, firstly, we're working with the municipalities in Gauteng to reduce the leaks in their distribution systems. If we can reduce the leaks in their distribution systems, then it will bring down demand, and it will mean that there'll be less likelihood of any shortages of water. Secondly, we are encouraging all the residents in Gauteng to use water sparingly. The average consumption of water by residents in Gauteng in terms of litres per capita per day is about 280 litres per capita per day, whereas the world average is about 171. If we can just reduce the average litres per capita per day usage in Gauteng moderately, then we will greatly reduce the risk of any water supply disruptions until the phase 2 of Lesotho Highlands water project comes online.
Now, ideally, you expect that the Gauteng government, particularly the city of Johannesburg, will be quick in resolving the water leaks, because, I mean, we had a story 2 weeks ago that the city of Johannesburg probably stands at 40%. 40% of the water that is lost is due to leaks. So do you get a sense that there is that level of urgency to deal with the leaks, to at least address the scarcity issue?
Actually, these things sometimes get a little bit mixed up in the reports. The amount of water lost in Joburg is about 28%. Their non-revenue water is the figure that's closer to 40%. There's a difference between the two. But the actual physical leaks is about 28% in Johannesburg. We are working closely with them. They have produced plans for reducing non-revenue water, for addressing the leaks. They also have plans. They have projects currently under construction to build more reservoirs and more pumping stations as well, to make their water supply system more resilient to potential breakdowns such as caused by load shedding or electrical or mechanical breakdowns, which will also reduce the risk of more water supply disruptions.
Now, just for the benefit of those who might not fully appreciate what we're talking about when we're talking about the non-revenue water that we lose, you say that one stands at 40%, 28% is due to leaks. Talk us through this non-revenue. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about illegal disconnections? What is it?
Yes. So non-revenue water has a number of potential components, including illegal connections, which is a big problem in some parts of Gauteng. It also includes weaknesses with the billing and revenue collection system of the city. So the city might not be billing all the people that it should be billing, that it's supplying water to, and then it might not be following up to ensure that all the people pay their bills. Also, some of the meters that the city has to measure how much water people are using might be not working properly. So there's a variety of reasons behind non-revenue water apart from the physical leaks.
Now, 40% there, now that you state, is then a significant number, because it seems like this is low-hanging fruit. These are some issues that can be resolved if they resolve the billing issues.
Yes, that's correct.
And I mean, one would think that if we're losing this revenue, it's a bigger problem, because it means that we cannot maintain the infrastructure because we're losing the revenue.
Absolutely. And that's why we are strongly encouraging all the municipalities in Gauteng, including Johannesburg, to particularly focus on this issue of reducing non-revenue water, because water is financially self-sustaining in South Africa. It's not funded by your income tax or by VAT. The maintenance and operation costs of Joburg water need to be covered from the sale of water by the city. So if they can reduce non-revenue water, then they can have more money and sufficient money to do the proper maintenance and to operate the water distribution infrastructure properly.
But I suppose the biggest take home, the good news, that the 6-month maintenance will not disrupt water at all. Doctor, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That's Dr. Sean Phillips, Department of Water and Sanitation Director General.